So in my last video, I spoke about why you absolutely must forgive your toxic ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. And as promised in my last video, today I'm going to talk about 5 tools or techniques that you can apply in your life in order to let go and forgive your ex. So in case you haven't seen my previous video, I spoke all about why it is absolutely crucial for you to forgive your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. I will leave a link to that video down below, or I will try and insert a card up somewhere. So if you are interested, go ahead and watch that video. In fact, I would highly recommend that you watch my previous video before you start watching this video. So without much further ado, let's jump right into these 5 techniques. So in my last video, I shared with you a chart of emotions. This chart was created by David Hawkins and can be found in his book Power versus Force. So we're going to refer to that chart again because that chart, I love that chart absolutely. It answers so many questions in life. So I'm going to pop that chart back on screen right now. And as you can see, the bottom bit of this triangle is a low vibe state, which is contracted, and the top bit of this chart is a high vibe state, which is expanded. In the low vibe state come all your low vibe emotions, and in the high vibe state, as you can see, come all the high vibe emotions. Guilt and shame are at the very bottom, and then as you move up, there's anger, and then as you move further up, you can see neutrality and then acceptance. Anger is smack in the middle of acceptance and feeling grief. So before you can start to accept, forgive, and let go, you need to feel that anger. Your anger in this situation is justified. It is there for a reason. So it is only normal and natural to feel it before you can let it go. I hope that makes sense. No emotions are negative, including anger. Anger is a very resourceful emotion. When channeled properly, your anger can push you into taking action, creating change, and being highly productive. Historically and culturally, anger has been classified as a negative emotion. So we try to jump from grief to acceptance, and that's really not possible. Because you have to feel anger before you can accept the situation. Okay, and like I said before, no emotions are negative. They are there for a reason. Your emotions are like a guidance system, if you will. They indicate whether or not you are in alignment with the laws of the universe. So the idea is to feel your anger before you can let it go. And if this means you need to scream inside of a pillow, you can do that. If this means you need to vent it out, do that. If this means you need to throw a tantrum, do that. If this means you need to cry and scream and howl, do that. But don't stay in this state. Know when you need to get out of this state. Feel this anger for a few minutes and then channel this into something productive, something physical. Do a physical activity. So you could do a workout after that. You could just organize your room, declutter your home. You need to find what works for you and do that activity. When I say embrace and feel your anger, I don't mean that you start picking fights with anyone and everyone. Okay, do this in a safe space. Do this all alone. You don't have to vent out to that person. You don't have to vent out to any person. As long as it's coming out of your system, your body, just feel it and let it go. Feel it and let it go. If it helps, if this helps you monitor your anger, you can always give yourself 5 minutes. 5 minutes, I will feel this anger fully. I will do whatever it takes for me to feel that way. And then after 5 minutes, I'm going to let it go. Now, I am a big Yin Yoga fangirl. I have spoken about Yin Yoga in so many of my previous videos now. And for those of you who don't know, Yin Yoga is a slow, hip-opening yoga practice. And in this type of yoga practice, you are basically stretching your whole body, but you're holding on these stretches for anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. When we stretch for 3 or more minutes, it gets very intense anyway. And during this time, you have nowhere to run or hide. So whatever you're feeling inside that you might have successfully suppressed throughout the day will come out during your Yin Yoga practice. And the only way to move through it is to feel it. So whatever emotions come up during Yin Yoga, whether they're sad or angry, you just have to feel them. So that in itself is a really good release. We store a lot of emotions in our hips, in our glutes, in our hamstrings. So a lot of Yin Yoga is focused towards opening and stretching your hips. And when I am down on that mat and I'm doing that pigeon pose, extended pigeon pose for a period of 3 to 5 minutes, I can literally feel a lot of tension leaving my body. And when I'm in that stretch, all I think about is, wow, I want to let go. Let's just let go, because letting go feels so good. Letting go feels so light in my body. So during that time, I definitely think of people in my life that I need to forgive, and I only think of letting it all go. So if you haven't tried it before, I would highly recommend you give it a go. And just to get you started, I will link a quick 30-minute Yin Yoga routine for you down below. So definitely check the description box out for that. Ho'oponopono is an ancient Hawaiian healing technique. I am not going to get into the details because that could be a whole another video. I'm just going to explain the whole concept to you in a nutshell. According to Ho'oponopono, we are all connected, we are all one, we are all the same. And every human being on some level feels this and believes this. So even if you have broken up with that guy or that girl, we are all still connected. So keeping that in mind, Ho'oponopono is like a little mantra. There are 4 sentences in this practice, and you can say these sentences over and over again like a mantra, keeping your ex in mind right before bed. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Now, some of you might object and say, wait a minute, I did not do anything to that. So why should I be the one forgiving him? So when you're saying sorry to this guy or this girl, you're not specifically saying sorry to them. You're also saying sorry to yourself. You're saying sorry to the relationship that failed. You're saying sorry to the entire universe. Because remember, according to Ho'oponopono, we are all connected, we are all the same, we are one. As I was editing this video, I realized I missed an important point in my explanation of Ho'oponopono, so here it is. In every relationship, especially in intimate relationships, no matter how thin you slice it, there are always 3 sides. His side, my side, and then there's the truth. Now, I'm not saying you have been a bitch to him, but in intimate relationships, during the course of any relationship, both parties behave in ways and do certain things that hurt the other person. So this is just balancing out your old karma with your ex and saying sorry for all those times that you may have hurt him in the past, intentionally or unintentionally. So every night before bed, you can do this for 3 minutes or 5 minutes or however long is comfortable for you. Think of your ex and say these sentences out loud or in your head, whatever works for you. And as you say these sentences repeatedly like a mantra, I am 100% sure something inside of you will shift. It might be a very subtle shift, but something will shift for sure. So the next thing that I want to talk about is EFT, or emotional freedom technique, or tapping. This exercise is all about acceptance and loving yourself unconditionally, and it really helps in dissolving emotional as well as physical pain in your body. So essentially what we do in this exercise is that we gently tap on meridian points in our body. These meridian points are like energy hotspots, and they send signals to that part of your brain which controls stress. In other words, this exercise is really effective in releasing stress from your body. So I'm going to quickly show you how this works. First of all, let's identify the meridian points, okay? There are 9 meridian points, and I'm going to show you now where they are. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7, your collarbone, this is 7, this is 8, under your underarm, this is 9, on top of your head. Right? So now that we have identified these meridian points, let's see how the exercise works. So let's say I am feeling angry towards my ex, and right now that anger is 8 on 10 if I rate it. Alright? So I'm going to start this exercise and I'm going to say something like, even though I'm feeling a lot of anger towards Dave. Let's just call this guy Dave, okay? So let's start. Even though I'm feeling a lot of anger towards Dave, I deeply love, accept, and forgive myself. 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 And even though this anger is taking over my life, I deeply love, accept, and forgive myself. 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 So this is round one. The second time, you could say something like, I choose to let it go. I choose to let it go. I choose to let it all go. I choose to forgive. I choose to forgive. I choose to forgive. I choose to forgive Dave. I forgive Dave. I choose to let it go. I let it all go. So something like this. Now you can do this for a period of 3 minutes to 5 minutes or till however long you want to do it. You can say these sentences out loud or in your head, doesn't matter. And you can also tweak these sentences around a little bit. So do what feels right for you in the moment. And definitely be sure to rate how you're feeling after you finish this exercise. So if 8 was where your anger was at before you did this exercise, I'm pretty sure you would be on a 7 or 6 or even 5 after you finish this exercise. Through this exercise, as you start accepting yourself, as you start loving yourself unconditionally, you also start accepting the situation, seeing it for what it is and letting it go. And last but by no means least, tap your heart and send them love and bless them. So let's say you are getting on with your life, you are doing your work, you're doing your things that you're supposed to do, and suddenly this thought pops up in your head and you start thinking about all the things that happened in the past, how this guy let you down, and you start feeling sad, you start feeling angry. I want you to bring in more awareness to the way you feel. Understand that this is just repetitive thinking, this is just an old habit, this is just a pattern. And with this tapping exercise, we are breaking this pattern. So when the thought comes to your head and when you feel those emotions that you don't want to feel, and if it is happening too much, you identify that situation and you tap your heart like this, and then you send them love. So Dave, I'm sending you a lot of love and I bless you. Something like that. This is a great way to interrupt an existing pattern. Believe me, this will shift the way you feel instantly, and over a period of time, you will start to feel differently about the whole situation. So that's it. Those were my top 5 techniques that will help you in letting go and forgiving people. If you found this video useful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. That really means a lot to me, and I will see you guys in my next one.